Hi guys!
We're back. Thank you for watching and welcome back to Tea Talks with
Meosha
and
Irina.
We missed you guys.
Yes.
We're always happy to be on. Very happy, but you know what? I'm going to lead today.
Go for it.
I a very prevalent subject.
Mm-hmm.
We usually debate about what we're going to talk about, but today I'm announcing we're talking about toxic relationships.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that's a big
because it is a big one. It's just there's so much around that. By the way, you're probably gonna hear my boys splashing in the pool. We're just gonna roll with it because that's how we roll, right, Meosha?
one. Right.
On that note, let me put my teacup down. On that note, so the reason we want to talk about this is because I am personally witnessing a lot of it around me. I don't like what I'm seeing, but unfortunately it's something that exists.
Yep.
And it needs to be talked about because it's just I'm beginning to get under my skin, to be honest, because there's nothing I can do about it personally. So I figured at least we can talk about it, share our feelings, maybe somebody can relate, and maybe get some takeaways from this. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why we decided to shed some light on it. Where do I begin?
Right.
It's how does one get themselves far enough into something abusive or toxic or otherwise? You know, there are so many red flags that are present in any situation.
Mm-hmm.
Why are the rose glasses so thick that people fail to see through them the reality that exists? Why does it take so many years sometimes to wake up? Some people never even wake up from it.
Very true.
And they continue to endure this abuse. I have a hard time understanding it.
Yeah.
Even though I myself have kind of been there. I guess it took me 10 years to wake up. So that brings me to that point of everybody has their own breaking point.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Everybody has different level of tolerance of abuse. For some, it's one look and they're done.
Mm-hmm.
And others can go on for years and really beat up their confidence and just disintegrate who they are and completely give up all of their power. I mean, all of it. To a point where they are so lost, it's almost like they don't know anymore where to even turn, who to turn to, what to do. I have a few situations I can talk about. I'm going to talk about them in general, obviously. Mostly it's women who are immigrants that I'm personally I'm aware of. Which is, and I mean, this is why I filmed my film, because I was so passionate about this subject, because it was so saturated around me that I just could not talk about it.
Right.
I know it's a heavy subject, right? So why do women give up their power?
I mean,
It's mostly women. We're talking about women.
yeah. In this discussion, I feel like women first. I think the reason why we give up our power, well, in general, I think that they end up in. I think they don't really know themselves. They don't really know. They never really had a foundation to begin with, and then when you get with someone who kind of gives you a foundation, but
What is
and
foundation?
it's like a father figure. Like we look at the man, the guy that we're with, as almost like a father in a way.
It's true.
In
we
some
do.
cases. So
we do
if you don't have
subconsciously,
that, yeah.
but then again, not necessarily so.
Sometimes I'm saying, not all the cases,
Not
but
necessarily so. I mean, I do agree with you. There
some
is that
women-
portion because
it's like the
we are
authority
taught.
figure.
Yeah, we are taught what is acceptable when we grow up.
Some are taught
Right.
that. Some who are not taught because they don't have a father figure to grow. Like they don't have that. They're missing that piece. So they find it in a man, or they find it in this guy, or whatever. Some type of manly figure to give them that validation. I don't know. So I think it just depends on the situation. I think sometimes it stems from their childhood. I think a lot of it is just your confidence. I think it's a lot of factors, honestly.
That's true.
There's really no one thing that, oh yeah, that's what it is, and that's what for all women.
What baffles me is it's one thing when you don't have wise counsel around
Right.
to feel lost. It's a whole other issue for me when people seek advice,
Mm-hmm.
they agree with the advice, but they don't heed the advice. I know that there's patterns of behavior and we fall
Right.
into, we all are subject to that.
Mm-hmm.
But when is enough enough, and when do you just, I guess I can't even really talk about it because all I'm doing is like expressing my frustration with
really
it.
enough that like you said at the beginning, like some women have certain, like you said, it's a look.
Yeah.
It's someone
Tolerance.
yelling. Yeah, it's a hit. I have known of some women that they're tolerant, and you're telling them like, get out of the situation. This situation is toxic. This situation is not good for you to be in. Like, this is not healthy. It's not good for you, nor the kids, nor for your family. Like, everyone around you is going to suffer. Oh yeah, I know, and they're agreeing. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah. I'm gonna do it. This guy's a douchebag. Next thing you know, they're still with this douchebag. So it's like,
And they always find fault with themselves.
right. That's
how manipulative those relationships are.
Yeah, they can be.
Those types of men get so good at making everything woman's fault that she begins to believe it. She begins to feel that she cannot do right, that she's not worth anything. The only validation she needs is from him, only when he approves it, and even that is at a minuscule level. It is not a life. It is
No.
a mere existence of survival at least. I don't even know how to put that anymore.
Yeah.
But women do that.
But there's also two sides of this coin. There's
Yeah,
and
of
I'm not
course.
saying women, it's not, oh, but woe is them. Sometimes
I
it's our
agree.
decisions that put us in a situation. We can, we'll see the red flag and we're like, no, it'll change, or maybe it'll be okay. No, you can't change anyone, number one. You can get in a situation and you see all the red flags. You still
You
get
can
in
only
there,
change yourself,
That's
and
it.
that's where it begins.
and that's what you can control. That's all you can control,
the
not the other
reason
person.
it keeps happening to you is because you're not taking a stand. It's because you're allowing that kind of treatment to go on. And I know we're gonna hear, you don't know my situation.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know. I have no power over anything. Well, I'm sure at some point you did. You just gave it all up, little by little, before it was gone.
Right.
So is that an excuse enough to continue enduring that? Or are you finally going to stand up and do something about it?
Yeah. Well.
Again,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be so passionate about it if I hadn't been through it myself. If I hadn't seen it in my mom. If I hadn't seen it all around me.
Right.
But I am. And I want to find a way to wake those women up.
Unfortunately, this is kind of how I feel. I feel like no matter what you say, no matter how much you, any problem that anyone's dealing with, if it's, this is go this way, this is the right direction, the door is
true.
open, and they see the door and they're like, yeah, I want to go through the door, but then they're just not walking through the door. They just keep going in circles and circles and circles until they decide within themselves that the door is open, because obviously the door is open to us and we look like it's
see
open.
it, yeah.
We see it. We see the freedom there on the other side. But to them, it's
psychological.
It's not open. It's this it's like being mentally caged
Trapped.
in.
Yeah, very much so.
It's a mental. It's when someone has your mind.
It's a fear-based mentality.
It's
fear-based,
problem.
victim-based mentality for sure.
Yeah.
And it's something to be broken through. You cannot lull someone into a better decision. You really... I've seen it time and time again. Life puts you in much harsher situations time over time over time. Long enough, it'll push you into the corner long enough for you to feel the pressure to wake up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's only going to get worse, and it's only going to get worse, and it's only going to get worse. In order for it to get better is for you to take a stand. For you to do something differently. If you've done what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always gotten. So obviously you have to find a different way. But not only that, you have to kind of stick it out.
Right.
Yes, you made a decision. You cannot go back. That is what most of these women do. They volley back and forth between their decisions, losing more and more of their own credibility.
Right. But the deeper and longer they stay in these toxic relationships,
the less they believe in themselves.
yeah, they'll start losing more of themselves. Is slowly being it's gone, it's leaving, and then they wake up and it's real. They don't know themselves. They don't have an identity anymore.
And it's not only, it's one thing if it were just the woman. I mean, I'm not excusing that, but what about those children?
Of course.
In those families, they are exposed to that toxic environment. They see what's going on. Those girls growing up in those abusive relationships, that's their level of expectation of a man. That is unfortunate.
Yeah, I know.
For a boy, that is their level of expectation of a man as well. How they're going to treat the next woman they meet.
Yep. Exactly.
To me, that's tragic.
It is. It's terrible.
And there, you can intervene. I have intervened. And when you talk to those people are genuinely hurting from themselves.
Yeah.
Those abusers are genuinely hurting from themselves. I know it's hard to hear, but it is very true. Yeah. It is ill living with the ill. It's just a different level of illness. One has no self-respect or backbone to stand up. The other one feeds off of it and feeds their wrong wolf, the anger.
Yeah.
And that's the vicious cycle that never ends. And they both suffer, they both want better, and they both don't know how.
Yeah.
So counseling in those situations is a really good idea, but they have to be able to believe in that.
And it's
because it takes a certain, I feel it takes a certain level of intelligence to understand that you need help.
Of course.
But it's the level of denial that keeps them in the dark.
Exactly. And it's unfortunate because I'm not trying to blame just the men and say, okay,
of course,
pity on the women.
Yeah.
I think it's two sides. I think they both have to kind of have an accountability. The man in these type of cases, from what I know, from friends that I know that dealt with this, took advantage of, and a man's he's only going to treat you how you want to be treated. So we have the power to show them how we want to be treated. But if you don't, you give him so much, it's like, yeah, he's gonna treat you exactly how you want him to. And I think sometimes some women don't realize that they have to be careful of that, like giving them too much of.
To them, fear of losing a family or some sort of stability or anything like that is much worse.
Well, yeah.
Than dealing with temporary situation, which is changing. They're afraid of any kind of change because it's the unknown. It's darker than the darkness they're in because they don't know what to expect. To them, that's much more scary than the reality that they reside in because at least they understand the reality.
Right. Yeah.
So where do you go from there?
At that point,
you have to
go
you
within.
have to find that strength.
You gotta go within.
I know how hard it was for me to make that decision. It was excruciatingly painful. to take, it only takes a split second. That decision takes a split second, but it feels like an eternity.
I'm sure.
And it's physically painful. The emotional attachment that we ascribe to said person or the situation, especially when kids are involved,
Oh yeah, my God.
is huge. But at some point, you've got to say enough is enough. I'm sure you have tried everything under the sun to please the situation, to try and make everything amenable to said person. It's not about that. You are never going to satisfy them to a point where they're going to appreciate you.
Yeah.
It's a wrong cycle.
That's the wrong cycle.
It is an ill cycle, and you have to break that. Somebody has to. The abuser is not going to do that because they're very comfortable with where they are. It's not in their best interest.
Yeah.
They always get what they want, even if it causes them a little discomfort for the minute. They've got all the power. They're okay.
Right.
It's the abusee, for the lack of a better word,
Pretty much.
is the one that needs to take the stand
Yeah.
and claim your power back. There's so many resources out there right now. It's a sin not to.
Again, it's a sickness. It's a disease, honestly, a mental problem. My mom, in her first marriage, and obviously I'll keep nameless, but she had to go through that, and I wasn't born at the time, but she told me when I got older, yeah, I was in an abusive relationship, and I had no idea until she told me the story of, she was married to this guy, much older than she, I think maybe like 10, 20 years difference. It was a big gap. First guy to tell her, I think, I love you, and you're the best ever, and you get married, and you have 2 kids. And she said everything was great at the beginning. Everything was great. Everything was perfect. But then just subtly, like jokingly, don't look at this guy. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. Or, oh, no. Don't do this unless I tell you to. I'm joking. I'm kidding. That kind of stuff. And then it just kind of graduated into abuse and verbal abuse. And then, fear sets in because you're like, especially in her case, he was much older than she. So that kind of fatherly figure, that man,
he knows more. He knows better.
More, exactly.
She
so then
follows
we
him.
follow because as women, we naturally feel, because it's like, he knows more, he's older, so I have to listen, blah blah blah, whatever. So then obviously that fear sets in, and then it graduates to hitting. And so, there was this time she told me, she said that, I was like, Mom, you're so smart. Like, the woman she is now, she's so smart and so, like, strong. And, I admire her strength. And, did I say it right? I think so. And,
don't worry about it.
I was thinking about
I try not to laugh about it.
Me too.
Okay.
It's a side joke. It's a joke.
Okay, fine. I'm only trying to, I guess.
Sorry.
Back on track.
But it's a serious topic.
Yeah.
But so, she says that her breaking point, and she has a family. She comes from a family, 12 brothers and sisters, big family. So obviously they saw her out and about. They could see the scars, but she will make excuses. Oh, I hit myself. Oh, I bumped my head, or my eye, I messed up. It's nothing. It's fine. Everything's fine. Making these excuses and being in this relationship.
This is not new to anyone.
No, and then what happened for her was she had to finally realize, she said it was her children. Like, I have to protect them. What am I doing? Why am I here?
That was the only thing
it woke her up.
That kept me to stick to my decision.
Of
it
course.
wasn't about me anymore.
It wasn't about, exactly. And she had to find that. I think somewhere in all of the abuse and verbal abuse, because it's mental, and it gets, I think mental is,
I think we have to
harder.
be able to trust somebody outside of us sometimes too.
Yeah, that too.
Because
she didn't have anybody though.
We get so in our heads about the situation.
Yeah.
When people tell us, trust me, we are so jaded that it's hard for us to put ourselves into somebody else's hands, because the reality shows that it's not safe.
Right.
That I've already done that, and it's not yielding me good results. It's the subconscious thing. It's not even conscious, thinking.
Mm-hmm.
But at some point, we have to put faith into something outside of us.
Right.
Obviously, God, universe, whatever you believe in, if you don't have that special person near you. But I have to say, typically, usually there's always someone who is willing to support you.
Of course.
We just don't let them in. God does not let anybody to just be by themselves, period. We may not see him.
Right.
We may not recognize that person, but it's always, at least what I've been seeing, there's always been that someone who's willing to fight for you so that you can get out of the situation.
Right. Yeah.
We just don't take that helping hand.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was the same case for your mom.
Well,
You'd have to ask.
Well,
I
she
guess,
did. She did say that day, like, after, to the point where he bolted the doors down and windows where she couldn't get out. She said she had to make a decision, and I think it was her sister or friend. She told her, like, when she goes check the mailbox, and I walk with the kids to get the mail, and you pick me up. And she said she's going to leave everything.
There you
and
go.
She
that
left
helping hand.
everything.
Yeah. That's what you got to do. It's not about things. It's about your safety and your well-being. And sometimes you'll go through harder times at first before it gets better.
Yeah.
But my God, the freedom and the sense of peace is definitely worth it.
It's so worth it.
I have known a woman who dug underneath her house for, I don't know if it was months or years. I'm not going to quote that. But that is what it took for her to escape her abusive situation. If a woman can do that,
you can do anything.
Don't tell me you have no way out.
You can do anything. You can do anything.
If it gets to a point where it's important enough, you will find a way.
You'll find a way. If it's that important, you'll find a way.
Clearly,
but
that's why I brought this up.
Even if when they get hit, they still don't understand. Like,
yeah,
it's for us. It's actually mind blowing when you think about it. It's like, for me, anything that's abusive, whether it's verbal or like, oh, I wish if I oh, you made me upset, I could kill you, that kind of stuff. No, that kind of talk, that's a no. I wouldn't be with a person.
Well, of
who
course.
says that. Are you kidding?
I know better now.
But some people, oh, he's just kidding. It's excuses.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's, if you want to get out of a situation and you're tired, you'll get out. You'll find a way out.
But you see, that's the other problem. Is like a very vicious kind of a circle, because most women are so tired and so beaten down that they literally have nothing left in them to fight.
Sometimes, yeah, that's so true. That's true.
So don't get, I know it's easier said than done. Don't get to that point.
Right.
But that's why I'm hoping that us talking about it is, hopefully we shed light on it for, even if for one person, it's done the job.
Yeah.
I know it's been talked about in so many different ways and platforms and what have you. Movies have been done and whatever. It is not a new subject, but it is definitely a sore subject for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's just...
Hopefully this helps someone. Whether it's you realized something or something clicks with you in this video, we hope it does. Because there's happiness and so much joy on the other side. Once you get out, so much freedom.
You
so much freedom.
deserve it. Yeah. Everyone deserves to be respected.
Yeah.
To be regarded. To be happy. Those are things that you should take for granted. You don't have to earn anything from anyone. God himself gave us that freedom. Who is that, whoever next to you, who's going to take that away from you? Something to think about.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. This was definitely a tough
I know, it's a
topic.
heavy one.
Yeah. This is a very heavy topic, and
there's definitely more to be talked about in this.
I mean, gosh,
much.
There can be a series of this, but for the purpose of detox.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Seriously, we really appreciate it. And
but if there are questions,
share this video. If you have any questions, comment down below.
If you know of someone in this situation,
share with us some stories.
Let them hear it.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll hear something for the first time.
Hopefully.
You don't know. I myself have witnessed many times where you would be talking to someone till you're blue in the face. Somebody else comes along, says something in 2 minutes, and they're like, oh, really? They got it.
Yeah.
And you've been talking about it with them forever. Sometimes things just click, they somehow come together, but we don't have control over it. All we can do is continue spreading the message. Hopefully somebody hears it in a different light and it gets through and something lights up in them and they stand up and do something about it. So that's our hope with this, our sincere hope. And we're here if you have any questions. And do remember that it really does get better.
It does.
It really does. The better it gets, the better it gets.
gets.
We didn't pick this slogan for no reason.
That's right.
We really mean it. We believe in it. We live it.
Yep.
So join us in it. Until next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.